All right, today we are going to continue reading Junie B. Cheater Pants, chapters 3 and 4. So remember, she copied May's homework, writing about what they did this weekend. And now she's so excited because she just gets to tell the class what she did this weekend, and she's not going to read her writing. All right, so chapter 3 is called Twitching. Finally, we got to the row right next to mine. That's where Jose and Lenny sit. When Jose's turn came, he smiled, very proud. He said on Saturday his daddy bought him brand new soccer shoes and he wore them to his soccer game. And he kicked the winning goalie with those things. Lenny went next. He said he got brand new hair gel and a thickening cream. A thickening cream can make the thinnest hair feel rich and full, he said. Whoa, I said. Whoa, said Herb and Jose. Whoa is what we say to be supportive. May sits behind Lenny. She stood up and read her paper real loud. This weekend, one thing I did for fun was, on Saturday, I made a pot in my pottery class, and after that, I was punctual to my ballet class, and the teacher said I danced like a gazelle. Mr. Scary did a chuckle. A gazelle, huh? A gazelle is a very graceful animal, isn't it? Yep, said May. Would you like to see me do a few steps? After that, she ran to the front of the room and she started to do ballet. But Mr. Scary said to please sit down again. As soon as she got back, I jumped right up. My turn, I said, real thrilled. I tapped on my chin. Okay, well, let's see now. On Saturday, my Grandpa Frank Miller came to babysit me, and he let me roller skate in the house. Plus, also, he let me jump on Mother's bouncy bed. Only pretty soon, I got pooped, so I ran into the kitchen and I drank chocolate milk out of the carton. Without a glass, I mean. Whoa, said Herb. Whoa, said Lenny and Jose. Mr. Scary raised his hand to interrupt me. Excuse me, Junie B. Sounds like you had a great time on Saturday, but I'm wondering why you're not reading it from your homework paper. Just then, my heart got very poundy and nervous. 'Cause I should have thought about that problem. I swallowed real hard. Well, let's see. Why aren't I reading? Mr. Scary smiled. It's all right. Just start over. Take out your paper and read to us what you wrote. All of a sudden, I got very frozen, and I couldn't even move. Mr. Scary crossed his arms at me. You do have a homework paper, don't you, Junie B? He asked. I stood there a little while longer, and then finally I reached into my desk and I pulled out the homework that I copied from May. I waved it in the air, kind of weakish. Here it is, I said. Here's my homework paper. See it? It's right here. Mr. Scary nodded. Yeah, good. Now, could you just read it for us, please? He asked. I took a deep breath. Then I looked down at my paper, and I read it silently to just myself. Okay, done, I said. After that, I quick sat down and I stuffed the paper back into my desk. Mr. Scary came back to where I sit. He said, could he please see my paper? I felt shaky and sickish inside. Very slowly, I took out my paper and handed it over. When he read it, he shook his head. He took my hand and walked me into the hall. Seems like you and May had very similar weekends, doesn't it, Junie B? He said. I did a gulp. Yeah, it does. Mr. Scary read my paper once more. So you take a pottery class, huh? He said. Yep, I do. I take a pottery class and I make little, pots. Mr. Scary breathed real deep. And let's see, you take a ballet class too, huh? And gee, what a coincidence. On Saturday, your teacher told you danced like a gazelle, I said very fast. Gazelle, said Mr. Scary. Whatever, I said. He sucked in his cheeks and looked at the paper again. And you were punctual too? He said. That's amazing, isn't it? I looked up at him. Well, not if you get an early start, I said real soft. Mr. Scary bent down next to me and his face was not jolly. Junie B. Jones, do you have any idea how disappointed I am in you right now? Just then, tears came into my eyes and I didn't expect that trouble. I quick hanged my head so he couldn't see. Sorry, I said. Sorry you're disappointed. Oh, Junie B. Mr. Scary took a big breath. He said that we would talk more at recess, and then he gave me a tissue from his pocket. I wiped my tears. After that, we went back into the room. I sat down at my desk, very slumping. Because what do you know? I didn't luck out after all. All right, chapter 4 is called Cheater Pants. Dear first grade journal, right now it is recess. I am not playing on the playground. Instead, I am sitting at my desk and I am waiting to get yelled at. I wish I could disappear into thin hair. If I could disappear, I would run outside. I would find May and I would clunk her on the head. I wish I didn't even have to sit next to that girl, because people should never leave homework on their desk for other people to borrow. That is just asking for trouble. From Junie B., first grader. Mr. Scary was writing at his desk. He looked up and called my name. Junie B., I'm ready for you now. Bring your chair up here, please. My stomach flipped and flopped, because here came the yelling part. I did some deep breaths, and then I pulled my chair to the front of the room and sat down next to him. Mr. Scary took out my homework paper out of his drawer, and he set it in front of me, very serious. I want you to explain this to me, Junie B. You need to tell me exactly why you copied May's homework this morning. I tried to swallow, but nothing went down. Well, let's see. The reason I copied was... I tapped on my chin. Then, all of a sudden, I thought of it. Daddy, I said. It was my daddy's fault. My teacher looked surprised at that answer. Your daddy? He said. Your daddy told you to copy May's homework? Yes, I said. No. Last night, I wanted to stay up late to do my homework, but Daddy turned out my light. He is the reason I had to come to school without it. I see, said Mr. Scary. So your daddy wouldn't let you stay up, so that forced you to copy May's homework. I nodded real fast. Yeah, that's exactly it. Mr. Scary raised his eyebrows. So did May give you her paper to copy? I rolled my eyes at that crazy question. No, silly. May would never be that nice. Just this morning, she kept on bragging about how her homework is always an A+. And then she left her paper on top of her desk when she went to the office. And that's just asking for trouble. Mr. Scary leaned back in his chair. So when May left for the office, you saw her paper and you decided to borrow it, I said. I decided to borrow it to copy. My teacher did a frown. Borrow? He said. Junie B., I'm sorry, but borrow is not the right word here at all. When you copy someone else's paper, that is called cheating. My eyes got big and shocked at that word, because what was he even talking about? No, Mr. Scary, no. I did not cheat. I didn't, I said. Cheating is when you steal answers off of someone's test. Homework isn't a test. Homework doesn't even count, hardly. Oh, but homework does count, Junie B., he said. Cheating is not about stealing test answers. It is any time you take someone else's work and you present it as your own. He looked at me. When you cheated this morning, you broke my trust, Junie B. We have a rule about this in room 1. There they are. Junie B just getting in trouble. Mr. Scary does look kind of scary. We keep our eyes on our own papers. You've heard me say that 100 times, I bet. I felt surprised at that information. That's a rule? No kidding. I thought that was a suggestion. Mr. Scary rolled his eyes. Junie B., it's not a suggestion. It's a rule. And it's an important rule, too. I drummed my fingers on my desk. Well, I'll be darned, I said. After a while, I did a deep breath. I'm sorry, I said real soft. Mr. Scary smiled a little bit. I'm sorry too, Junie B. But now I think we understand each other better. I will not put up with cheaters in my classroom. I did a wince. I wish you would stop using that cheater word. I didn't know I was cheating. I don't like cheaters either, Mr. Scary. My daddy cheated me at Old Maid last week, and I'm still not over that experience. Mr. Scary wrinkled his eyebrows. Your daddy cheated? He said. Yes, Daddy raised the Old Maid way high in his hand so I would pick her. And then I did. What kind of a sneaky trick was that? Mr. Scary covered his mouth. He was shocked, I believe. I leaned closer to him. And Daddy is not the only cheater pants in my family either, I said. My Grandpa Frank Miller is supposed to be on a diet, But yesterday, my grandma found an empty pie pan in his closet. All that was left was a little bit of crust and a plastic fork. I thought for a second. No wonder I cheated, I said. Cheating is in my blood, apparently. Mr. Scary did a chuckle. Well, nobody's perfect, he said. Everyone cheats on a diet once in a while, I think. But cheating at school is a very different matter, Junie B. Cheating in school is serious business. Are we clear? I nodded real fast. Clear, I said. After that, both of us shook our hands and Mr. Scary carried my chair back to my desk. After I sat down, he took an envelope out of his pocket and he handed it to me. I wrote a note to your parents explaining what happened today, he said. They need to read it and sign it, okay? Bring it back to me in the morning. I did a gasp. No, Mr. Scary, not okay. Please don't make me take a note home. I really, really don't want to take a note. Mr. Scary thought for a second, and then he took the note back. Okay, if you feel that strongly, I won't make you take it. He started walking back to his desk. I'll just call them instead, he said. I did a loud groan. What kind of choice is that? I stomped to his desk and I grabbed back the note and I stuffed it in my backpack. And I sat down at my desk and I wrote in my journal one more time. Mr. Scary is a tattletale. All right, guys, tomorrow we will start chapter 5, which is called The Note.